I'm Cadet Senior Master Sergeant Felix Zheng at the Air Force Academy. In Civil Air Patrol, I'm still a Cadet First Lieutenant, so I haven't let that go yet. But yeah, I was invited to, share some of my experiences in Civil Air Patrol and, in the Air Force Academy as well. So I guess leading into it, I'll give a little bit of an introduction about my time in CAP and my time at the Academy. And then, I'll share a couple stories about things that have happened and what I've learned. So to start, currently I'm a junior at the Air Force Academy. I entered in June 2018 and have been here pretty much ever since, with a couple breaks in between, including a longer COVID caused break earlier this year. Here I'm a computer science, electrical and computer engineering double major, and I'm also a Chinese and Portuguese double minor. So I have plenty of stuff on my plate. Previous to this semester, I've been involved in cyber team and the rock climbing teams here, also Portuguese club and a couple other activities. And the reason I'm not involved with those things this semester is because I took on a job as the Cadet Wing Information Technology, NCOIC. And with that job, I'm in charge of all the information technology needs for all 4,000 plus cadets here at the Academy. And due to some staffing changes, I'm pretty much the only person at the level that I'm at. It's been very, very busy, especially due to COVID, because we've been extra dependent on our computer resources with online classes and so many other things. So a couple of the fun things that I've been able to do here. Starting off with basic training. People say it sucks. It does suck, but it's also pretty fun if you look at it the right way. I would argue that, if you've gone to Civil Air Patrol encampment, you're actually pretty well prepared depending on the encampment that you go to. We did a bunch of fun stuff there, camped out in our local valley here we call Jack's Valley, and did some activities there. In the school year, I've held various cadet jobs, from training others in land navigation and other what we call major assessment events. I've also helped out with, of course, IT stuff, and I've also been the operations clerk for the squadron, or for my old squadron. Other activities have included cyber course that I did 2 summers ago. That same summer, I also did survival training with one leadership course mixed in between. And probably one of the most fun programs here, I did jump. So we did a couple solo skydives. The first time you skydive out of a plane, it's only you and your parachute. So that's pretty interesting, pretty fun, pretty scary at the same time. And to go along with the airmanship programs, I've also done a couple glider flights here during my freshman year. So I've been doing a smattering of things here, and some of the things that I learned in Civil Air Patrol have really transferred over here, and I'll speak to that a little bit more, a little bit later. In Civil Air Patrol, I joined Fox Valley Composite Squadron in September of 2014 as a freshman in high school. I quickly got involved in emergency services, and over the years, I gained a bunch of different qualifications. I think before I left for the Air Force Academy, I got qualified in pretty much everything available to cadets under 18, including one aircrew role as Jeep, or now known as DART. And I participated in a lot of different exercises and activities in those capacities, from communications unit leader to ground team to, and any other support role that I've been given. All of this I learned partly at NISA and partly in Illinois Wing. So I'm very grateful to everyone who has taught me all these things, including Major Gillingham here. I've seen him around and worked with him at a couple exercises. And at NISA, I've also had a chance to work with a lot of people in various programs. I did Wilderness Advanced First Aid, their Communications Unit Leader School, their Jeep, now DART course. I also staffed Mission Aircrew School and got my flight line marshaling qualification there as well. They did a lot of things there. Other National Cadet Special activities that I've been to have included Cyber Defense Training Academy. I went there 3 years, first 2 as a student in the basic and advanced course, and the 3rd year went to Maryland as staff. And I actually, in Maryland, met a Civil Air Patrol cadet at the time, who is now actually a cadet here at the Air Force Academy. So we are still working together on cyber related things here. It's super cool to see. There are a lot of different other opportunities that I wish I had the chance to take advantage of, such as Johnson Flight Academy and National Blue Beret, but unfortunately, time is short and time is scarce, and I didn't have the luxury or the opportunity to attend those. So I guess from that, lesson for all of you guys is take advantage of every opportunity you can get, because you never know how they can help you in the future. And you Civil Air Patrol, and I think many things in life, it really comes down to you get what you put into it. So that definitely those activities, take advantage of those if you can. This summer, I was invited by Colonel 30acre and Colonel Taylor to help instruct some of the online virtual ES courses. So this was back in June, moving into July and August, and I said, sure, let's do it. We were going to instruct the ICUT course, ground team, and UDF courses, and I was helping out with the MRO course, and I actually took the Mission Aircrew School, or not Mission Aircrew School, Mission Scanner course as well in that series. And there are many challenges that went along with that, because we intended to actually sign people off on tasks. If you're familiar with ICUT and ground team, all these require hands-on demonstrations, either with the radio or with maps or with compasses and things like that. And our challenge was to turn all of that into a course into a virtual course, and to be able to sign people off on those qualifications. So I worked with quite a few people to get that done, including Colonel Bartell, Colonel Felber or Major Felber, Colonel 30acre, Colonel Taylor, Major Hiles, a lot of people in Illinois wing to make this happen. What we did was we turned a bunch of the assessments that were traditionally done on paper, we turned them into quizzes, and each student could be assessed based on those quizzes. We ended up assessing over 1,200 individual tasks, and we signed off, I think, almost 50 people in the ICUT qualification. This is all done virtually, never done before. And so this was something that we were really pioneering the way for. Right? But all this was not without challenge. The virtual environment, for one, as I mentioned, it's really hard to take a task that, hey, here's a handheld radio, here's how you talk into it. How do you teach that? And how do you assess that, right? There were also some people saying that, hey, we don't think this can be done, right? You have to meet to assess these things. And, the way we ran the course was also a little bit difficult for some of the students, because we ran the courses in a very, high school or college style manner, where we gave out a syllabus and said, here's all the stuff you need to learn, and here's all the stuff that you need to do in order to get qualified. And then we delivered the material to go along with that. So it's harder for especially, students without experience in those kind of environments to learn. And then there's also some disagreement among instructors on how to teach the material. I disagreed with Colonel Taylor and Major Felber many times on certain issues, and we all had to work that out and come to a consensus on how to get those things done. So a lot of moving parts and a lot of challenges, but in the end, we did complete the task. So some lessons learned from that, right? One of the things I want to point out is that none of us, me, Colonel Taylor, none of the instructors actually had to present this course. This is a completely volunteer course, as with anything in Civil Air Patrol, but this was extra work, right? It was a good opportunity, though, for us to challenge ourselves and for us to educate others. So I think that's why we all chose to take advantage of it. I think that's one of the things that's, you know, good for anything that you're doing in Civil Air Patrol, in your job, in school. Just take advantage of opportunities, and, you know, you'll learn. And if you can help other people grow as well, that is just awesome to me. Another thing is that, you know, some of these challenges that we faced in the virtual course, they actually transferred directly to, you know, the current job that I'm doing as the Wing Information Technology NCO. So, you know, for example, in-person versus remote training. I also had to deal with a lot of those challenges in this job, working with people with different backgrounds, different interests. Um, I was indirectly in charge of about 80 people this semester, if not more, depending on how each squadron was set up. And getting all those people to do everything that we needed them to do was not an easy task, right? And then there was also the final thing of what happens when you oppose an idea, especially when it's a superior, right? I had disagreements with the dean's staff. The dean is a one-star general here, right? I had disagreements with the commandant's staff. Commandant is a two-star general, and her staff is, you know, lieutenant colonels. So I, as a cadet, had to be able to communicate clearly why I did not believe, or why I was disagreeing with what they wanted me to do, or with certain policies. So a lot of things learned from that course, or that you know, multiple courses that I did in Civil Air Patrol over the summer, that transferred into my current job. I'd like to speak a little bit more about the current job because, you know, I also learned quite a few things along the way here, right? So as IT NCOIC, I mentioned, I'm in charge of all the information technology for all 4,000 cadets. This is as simple as telling cadets which Wi-Fi network to use, right? We have 3 different Wi-Fi networks, if not 4 in certain locations. And to be able to balance all the online courses, it's a very big challenge. And this was very important because in the COVID environment, we had a lot of online courses as opposed to in-person courses. Also, there are a lot of things that had to get done. So one of the taskers that came out was, hey, we need you, and by extension your staff, to survey every single room and find out if Ethernet ports on either side of the room worked, right? That's roughly 4,000 Ethernet ports that needed to be done. And the challenge was, how do we get, you know, 80 to 100 staff members in the 40 different squadrons to, you know, to complete the task? And we ended up completing it pretty successfully, and we identified about 700 ports that were broken, and that needed to be fixed. There are also other tasks like full email inboxes. Here we have 2 different email accounts, one of which fills up really, really quickly. And some people don't clear it out because we mainly use the one that's hosted in the cloud and that's easier and accessible on our phones. Well, what happens is that when your email fills up, every time someone sends an email, it gets pinged back. And that's really annoying when you're, you know, a general and you're sending an email out to 4,000 people and you get 200 pingbacks of full email inboxes, right? Is how do we solve all these problems? Is a very, very challenging position this semester, and because I devoted so much time to it, I actually had to put some other responsibilities and some other, I guess, hobbies to the wayside. But you know, this semester really challenged me in my growth and you know, in my perseverance and grit, because you know, I really wasn't supposed to do this whole job. This job was supposed to be distributed among 3 people, but due to some staffing issues, it all fell on me, right? This is somewhat analogous to, hey, I didn't have to teach the summer training, but you know, I chose to do it and I chose to make the best out of it. So I think that's one other lesson for everyone here. And it's that sometimes, you know, it's not always the best working conditions. It's not always, you know, you don't get the best rewards, but hey, you get a job, you get it done to the best of your abilities, and you make the best out of your situation. That's one thing that I really, really had to, you know, commit to over the course of this semester. Along with that, you never want to miss an opportunity to help out. So for me, I always say that, hey, if I went to bed at the end of the day without making the world a better place, whether that's educating myself, to to respond to future challenges, or tutoring someone in math, or resolving an IT issue, always try to wake up and make the world a better place, right? And then the other thing is you just got to be flexible, right? Things happen, and things come up. These meetings are a perfect example. Actually, last night, Chaplain Grossman called me about 10 minutes before another meeting, and he was like, "Oh, hey, are you ready to present?" And I'm like, "Sure, yeah, I'm gonna do it." And instead of complaining, instead of saying, "No, sir, you got it wrong," right? I was like, "Okay, let's put something together and let's present." So that's another thing that I've been doing a lot of this semester. So I guess I didn't really know how to sum it up very well. I know I presented a lot of lessons that I've learned and things like that, but just I guess to sum it up in the best way that I can, it's just take advantage of every opportunity that's given to you, and make the best out of every situation, no matter how hard it is. As I mentioned before, I'm a computer science and electrical and computer engineering major. So it's been a lot of just, different things. I think a lot of the classes are comparable to what you would get at a civilian school in terms of course materials and things like that. But the thing that stands out is that you get a connection to the Air Force and military applications. So a lot of the instructors are actually, captains, majors, lieutenant colonels, even colonels in the Air Force, and they've done cyber operations and engineering in the Air Force, and they're able to bring that connection into the classroom. At the same time, you're also afforded a lot of opportunities over the summer to participate in internship programs. So there's some people who've gone to work at the NSA or NRO, which is National Reconnaissance Laboratory Office, Lockheed Martin, all these different contractors and national labs. So I think that's one advantage that we have. We have kind of a special pipeline that you can take advantage of and do all these special opportunities. So I think that's the biggest difference between a civilian school and a military academy in terms of learning about those things. I guess Chinese, it's kind of similar because you get people who have gone and done tours as foreign area officers, which are basically military diplomats in different places. My Portuguese instructor right now is actually a major in the Brazilian Air Force. So we get that perspective about, all the operations in Brazil and in South America, and, about our partner nations' militaries. So I think that, again, is the biggest difference between civilian school learning these things and military academy learning these things. I've had a lot of fun in both, not going to lie. ECE, especially electrical and computer engineering, has been very challenging at times with plenty of all-nighters, but, it's I I would say I enjoy it, but yeah, I enjoy the subject, maybe not the classes. So I guess this is a hard one because everyone's situation is different, but I think that um, you know just just take advantage of every opportunity you have. This goes back to the same thing, right? Always never close doors on yourself, right? So you have an opportunity, submit an application, right? Try it out. If you don't like it, you can always say no later. But if you say no before even trying, you've already lost that opportunity before even trying it out. I would say that take advantage of every opportunity you have and focus more on giving your best effort than getting the best grade or the best score, the best ranking. People will see hard work, shine through even some not top of the line rankings, right? But if you just focus on the scores, then you become a person focused on artificial things instead of developing yourself. So I definitely didn't take advantage of the team and the resources as much as I could have. But I did have a blast, doing all this stuff. We've gone outdoor climbing in the Colorado mountains, and that's that's always a blast. And I've transferred some of those over, when we got sent home back in March for coronavirus precautions, I guess. I actually didn't go back to Illinois. I went to stay with my cousin and my uncle's family in Salt Lake City. And out there, we did a bunch of rock climbing too. So definitely had a lot of fun with that. And to speak to your point about all the different things that, the Air Force Academy has to offer and all the diversification, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, same point as hey, you're in Civil Air Patrol, you must be a pilot thing. A lot of people are like, oh, you go to the Air Force Academy, are you going to become a pilot? And I guess for a long while, that answer was, no, I didn't really go to the Air Force Academy to become a pilot, right? I wanted to do cyber or intel or something else like that. And one of the things you realize with the pilot thing is you can really become a pilot in any way you want, right? You have people getting degrees in English and management and behavioral science, and all these people are going on to becoming pilots as well. And that's one of the good things I think about being able to do that, because you have a very diverse background. You have people who know how people think, how to manage people, right? And just very different perspectives going into the same career field, which I think is very, very important. I guess to the point of, or to address the, hey, what about now? Do you want to become a pilot now? Goes back to the, never leave or never close doors before you have an opportunity to try the experience. And what it came down to for me right now is, you can always do computer stuff. You can always do engineering stuff when you become 40 or 50 or 60, but you can't go to pilot training, right? I could always go to pilot training and say, nah, this is not for me, and switch to something else. But doing it the opposite way is very hard. So actually right now, I'm leaning towards trying the pilot thing first and, seeing if I like it. Over the summer, I went and got a private pilot's license. And at some point, I want to, get my Form 5 done with Civil Air Patrol, but it's been hard with coronavirus and stuff like that. So